Hello all, welcome back to the lecture series on British history and the history of England. Today our topic is the Wars of the Roses. The Wars of the Roses 1455 to 1485. The Wars of the Roses 1455 to 1485. The Angevin or Plantagenet Empire was established by Henry II. The Angevin or Plantagenet Empire was established by Henry II. The Angevins were a royal house of French origin that ruled England in the 12th and early 13th centuries. The Angevins were a royal house of French origin that ruled England in the 12th and early 13th centuries. They had two branches, the Yorks and the Lancaster. They had two branches, the Yorks and the Lancasters. They each had a banner with a rose on it. They each had a banner with a rose on it. The Lancastrians had a red rose and the Yorkists had a white rose. The Lancastrians had a red rose and the Yorkists had a white rose. During Henry VI's reign, the Duke of York, a descendant of Edward III, claimed the British throne. During Henry VI's reign, the Duke of York, a descendant of Edward III, claimed the English throne. This led to a civil war between the two houses of York and Lancaster, known as the Wars of the Roses. This led to a civil war between the two houses of York and Lancaster, known as the Wars of the Roses. The wars lasted from 1455 to 1485. The wars lasted from 1455 to 1485. In 1461, Henry VI was defeated by Edward IV of York. In 1461, Henry VI was defeated by Edward IV of York. After Edward IV died, his cruel brother Richard III imprisoned the minor sons of Edward and proclaimed himself king. After Edward IV died, his cruel brother Richard III imprisoned the minor sons of Edward and proclaimed himself king. But Henry VII, a member of the Tudor family, was the heir to the House of Lancaster. But Henry VII, a member of the Tudor family, was the heir to the House of Lancaster. Henry VII defeated Richard and became England's ruler. Henry VII defeated Richard and became England's ruler. The Wars of the Roses was brought to an end when Henry VII married Edward IV's daughter Elizabeth. The Wars of the Roses was brought to an end when Henry VII married Edward IV's daughter Elizabeth. Through this marriage, the houses of York and Lancaster were finally united. Through this marriage, the houses of York and Lancaster were finally united. There was even a new symbol for this new dynasty, the Tudor rose, which combined the roses of the Lancasters and Yorks. There was even a new symbol for this new dynasty, the Tudor rose, which combined the roses of the Lancasters and the Yorks. Tudor is a name of Welsh origin. Tudor is a name of Welsh origin. The Tudors ruled very successfully over England from 1485 to 1603. The Tudors ruled very successfully over England from 1485 to 1603. They gave England internal order and peace. They gave England internal order and peace. The war lasted over a period of 4 decades. The war lasted over a period of 4 decades. Each side was successful at different times. Each side was successful at different times. The wars killed half the lords of the 60 noble families of England. The wars killed half the lords of the 60 noble families of England. Before the war started, there were around 60 noble families, but by the end of it, this number had fallen to around 30. Before the war started, there were around 60 noble families, but by the end of it, this number had fallen to around 30. The wars were of a dynastic nature, and so the intention was not just to win the crown. The wars were of a dynastic nature, and so the intention was not just to win the crown. Now let's see what were the consequences of the Wars of the Roses. Consequences of the Wars of the Roses. An increase in the power of nobles compared to the crown during the wars. An increase in the power of nobles compared to the crown during the wars. An increase in the use of violence and assassination as political tools. An increase in the use of violence and assassinations as political tools. The destruction of half the nobility of England. The destruction of half the nobility of England. The reassertion of the crown's superiority over the nobility by the war's victor Henry VII. The reassertion of the crown's superiority over the nobility by the war's victor Henry VII. The creation of the House of Tudor by Henry VII. The creation of the House of Tudor by Henry VII. A continued inspiration for later writers such as William Shakespeare. A continued inspiration for later writers such as William Shakespeare. Now let's see which were the major battles in the Wars of the Roses. The major battles in the Wars of the Roses. The first battle of St. Albans, 1455. First Battle of St. Albans, 1455. Then Battle of Blore Heath. Then Battle of Blore Heath. Then Battle of Ludford Bridge. Battle of Ludford Bridge. Then Battle of Wakefield. Battle of Wakefield. Then Battle of Mortimer's Cross. Battle of Mortimer's Cross. Second Battle of St. Albans. Second Battle of St. Albans. Then Battle of Ferry Bridge. Battle of Ferry Bridge. Then Battle of Hexham. Battle of Hexham. Then Battle of Loscott Field. Battle of Loscott Field. Then Battle of Barnet. Battle of Barnet. Then Battle of Bosworth Field, 1485, the last battle. Battle of Bosworth Field, 1485. So that's all for today. We will meet again in the next class with some other topics.